Welcome to IHIP News. As you know, IHIP stands for I've Had It Podcast, and this is our YouTube news station. Sadly, today we are here to talk about the death of a fellow Oklahoman, Nex Benedict.
This is a tragedy.
Nex was 16 years old. They went to Owasso High School. On February 7th, they were beaten in the girls' restroom by 3 others. An ambulance was not called, nor were the police called.
What?
Nex was suspended from school for 2 weeks. They went to the doctor. They went home. The next day, they woke up and didn't feel well, went to the hospital, and died. Nex was a straight-A student. They loved their cat named Zeus. They loved gaming and cooking, which I have a 17-year-old child, and my child likes to do pretty much the same stuff. Nex's family accepted them and loved them for who they were, and they've started a GoFundMe page. Nex was non-binary, and her family added a segment to the GoFundMe page that I'd like to read. Sue Benedict updated the GoFundMe page and said, "We at this time are thankful for the ongoing support and did not expect the love from everyone. We are sorry for not using their name correctly, and as parents, we were still learning the correct forms. Please do not judge us as Nex was judged. Please do not bully us for our ignorance on the subject. Nex gave us that respect, and we are sorry in our grief that we overlooked them. I lost my child. The headstone will have the correct name of their choice. The rest of the monies will go to other children dealing with the right to be who they feel they were. In Nex Benedict's name, God bless."
It's heartbreaking.
So I would like to say to everybody, if you find somebody who is an ally, who struggles and accidentally, unintentionally superimposes the wrong pronoun, show them grace and correct them with kindness, because Pumps and I are probably bound to do that because
I've done that, and I've felt terrible about it, but I just didn't know.
in our entire lives, we know it's a binary world that we were raised in, and old habits die hard. We were recently on tour, and a person corrected us for using the wrong pronouns with kindness and forgiveness and grace. And I encourage everybody who is an ally of this community to show that same type of grace. But I want to talk about Nex lived in Oklahoma, and we live in Oklahoma.
Right.
And I want to talk about the political climate in this state. And I want to start with the governor of the state. His name is Kevin Stitt, and he is a Christian nationalist that is completely divorced from reality and incapable or unwilling to think outside of his very rigid world view. Let me give you an example of what Kevin Stitt is up to. Seth?
We just thank you that we claim Oklahoma for you as the authority that I have as governor and the spiritual authority and the physical authority that you give me. I claim Oklahoma for you, that we will be a light to our country and to the world right here from our state. And we thank you that your will is done on Tuesday. And Father, that you will have your way with our state, with our education system, with everything within the walls behind me and the rooms behind me, Lord, that you will root out corruption. You'll bring the right people into this building, Father, from now on.
Okay, this is religious theater.
Absolutely.
Is all it is. And I am a tax-paying resident of this state, and I am not a Christian. And so this really only plays into his uber right-wing base. Let me tell you what Kevin Stitt has done. He has institutionalized intolerance.
Absolutely. He says all that bullshit, and then he's absolutely devoid of empathy, and his policies are mean-spirited, and they're hateful.
He recently sent out a tweet after Donald Trump, the former president, facing, is it 91?
91 felony counts in 4 jurisdictions.
When he was found liable for defrauding the state of New York. Kevin Stitt sent out a tweet and said, hey, all the companies in New York, come to Oklahoma. We're open for business. Call my office and set up an appointment.
Right.
I have a hot news flash for you, Kevin Stitt. That's not going to happen. And let me tell you why. Number one, a lot of these companies might not have a religious agenda like you do.
Right.
Number two, if they come to this state, their employees are facing a public school education system that is ranked either 49th or 50th, depending on where you look at it. Some of these employees could have queer children, non-binary children, trans children, gay children, or maybe kids that look or act a little different. They are not going to be welcomed in your school system, not to mention the academics are abysmal with the 49th and or 50th rating. Further, Governor Stitt, if a child were raped, they're not going to be able to have the choice over bodily autonomy to abort that child should they choose. Oklahoma does not provide freedom. Anti-freedom is very anti-business.
Absolutely.
And he has driven the state into the ground. For the last 20 years, we've had a Republican super majority, and our ranking has just dropped and dropped and dropped. He does all of this as a facade to say, what did he say? He had spiritual authority over the state.
Yes.
That's made up.
Right. In his own mind.
And then he comes out with this institutionalized bullying and institutionalized intolerance where students like Nex Benedict, it's hard enough to be a teenager, and it's very hard to navigate high school if your life goes straight down the fairway. If you happen to be non-binary, you not only have to worry about other kids perhaps bullying you, but your governor
bullies you,
is going to bully you.
Right.
Your governor is going to pass legislation that makes it legal for you to be bullied. All of this is religious theater that the far right wing traffics in. And it is total bullshit, and it is dangerous and unsafe and cruel to children in this state and to women in this state. Next up, we have Superintendent Ryan Walters. Ryan Walters is a fanatical, fundamentalist Christian fascist who spends the majority of his spare time in his car making videos demeaning the LGBTQIA plus community. And let me just tell you, since Nex's death, this is a video that he put out in the last 24 hours. This is where his head's at.
Edmond Public Schools is leading the charge to put pornography back in schools. Today, we see Edmond Public Schools is fighting to keep pornography on their shelves and are challenging our rule to keep pornography out of the classroom. This is unbelievable. I mean, we've seen Edmond Public Schools push radical left-wing policies before, but this is incredible even for them to go this far. So our rule is common sense. Keep pornography and sexually explicit material out of the hands of minors. We're going to continue to protect parent rights in the classroom. Even the liberal media will not even read the lines from the books in Edmond Public Schools on air. It's that bad. It's that sexually explicit. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue to fight for parents, and we're going to make sure that these books are kept out of the classroom. And Edmond's going to continue to push a legacy that's more in line with Hugh Hefner and pushing pornography rather than being focused on academic excellence.
Okay. First of all, Pumps lives in Edmond.
Right. I dare say there's no pornography Edmond Schools is fighting for.
Let me tell you all what Edmond, Oklahoma is. Let me go to the next picture so we have a picture of Ryan Walters. That's him on the left, if anybody is confused, and that is his friend touching his upper thigh on your right. But anyway, Edmond is a very white, very suburban,
Very religious.
Oklahoma City suburb where there is a mega church on every single corner. It is deeply red. There are big giant crosses off the highways.
Yep.
I just want to say this. Ryan Walters is posting this on Twitter, and Twitter is full of porn. He doesn't ever mention that probably 99% of all Edmond junior high and high school students have cell phones wherein the porn is going to far exceed whatever book he's talking about. And I think Kylie told us it was Kite Runner.
He's talking about the Kite Runner.
Yeah. So this is all theater.
It's bullshit because I'm just telling you, is he going to go to every student and take their iPhone? Fuck no.
It's about him sitting in his car making these, what psychiatrists refer to as flight of ideas videos, pandering to the Donald Trump wing of the Christian nationalist sect of America, which is not a silent majority. It is a fever pitch minority. But Ryan Walters is so unhinged. He has not spoken about Nex. To the contrary, he has made video after video after video demeaning queer kids, gay kids, non-binary kids, and trans kids. And he has made this state the leader in the country in bullying these kids, which makes them unsafe. It is anti-family, and he is a bizarre, cruel man who poses on a bench with his friend where his friend grabs his upper thigh. And I want to say, I'm a huge ally of the LGBTQ plus IA community. I am deeply saddened by Nex's death and horrified by the state that I live in that creates a culture where they make bullying kids that are brave enough to tell us who they are and brave enough to try to live out who they are in this Christian nationalist hellscape. He has made it legal to bully them, institutionalized bullying. All of this talk of God and Jesus and all this stuff is religious theater. And let me tell you why. These guys act like they care so much about children.
Right.
Oklahoma is ranked 46th in overall child well-being. 46th after 20 years of Republican supermajorities. That's where Oklahoma's ranking has tanked. And specifically, I'm quoting here, 2 decades of revenue-reducing tax cuts by Oklahoma lawmakers have made the state's budget today about 12% smaller than it was in the fiscal year 2000. This ongoing disinvestment is harming the state's ability to deliver programs and services to Oklahomans who need it the most. So this state is talking about trans kids and non-binary kids, gay kids and queer kids as ad nauseum. If I didn't live here, I would think that there were just gangs of gays running around wreaking havoc.
Right. A transgender every other person.
Right. And that is just simply not happening.
No.
You have a child like Nex who loves their cat, who makes straight A's, who went to school. And it was his job, the guy on the left right here, it was his job to keep them safe. It was his job to not implement policies that demonize kids. And we as a culture and as a society need to embrace and love children that show us and tell us who they are. This whole idea that you have to fit into this box or this box is archaic, medieval, Abrahamic thinking that Gen Z is rejecting. Mm-hmm. And people like us, white, straight women, and I'm looking at you, white, straight men, we all need to come out in droves to advocate for these kids that are getting bullied by their government. We are creating a culture and a space that is not safe for these people to thrive, and it's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. It's tragic. The fact that it's institutionalized from the governor to the state superintendent, it's appalling. It's 2024, and this is the best we've got. It's heartbreaking. I mean, there's just no other way to say it. It's tragic.
Governor Stitt and Ryan Walters speak constantly about indoctrination. And here's the reality of what is going on. As you could see by the cult-like video that Governor Stitt spoke in, where he claimed to have spiritual authority, he's clearly the one that is indoctrinated by fundamentalist Christianity, wherein he feels justified in bullying kids and making them less safe. His spiritual authority is self-appointed.
Right.
Nobody elected him for that. Furthermore, our Constitution is clear on the subject of the separation of church and state. The politicians like Kevin Stitt and Ryan Walters ignore that. The people that are indoctrinated in this country are the Kevin Stitts and the Ryan Walters. They are wildly indoctrinated. There are people like us who are always going to vote against those people.
Right.
And then there are the MAGA, and they're always going to vote for those people. And who we're talking to today are the people in the middle, the people that don't care about things until it affects them. Nex could be anybody's child.
Right.
Nex
Grandchild,
could be
sister.
anybody's grandchild. But most importantly, Nex was a human being.
That's right.
And they loved their life. Their family loved and supported them. And can you imagine getting up every single day in this state with a deluded governor who has an agenda of hate masked in, I'm this big Christian.
Right.
And an off-the-rails, psychotic superintendent who pals around with the Moms of Liberty, which is nothing short of a weird cult wherein they engage in menage a trois and shoplifting, and you can see some of our other YouTube videos for those details. And the libs of TikTok. And they parade around like they care about children when the data in this state shows their policies do not advocate for children in any way, shape, or form. Oklahoma is not a safe space for children, particularly for marginalized children, because our leaders are failing the entire community, but they feel empowered because they are completely indoctrinated in fundamentalist Christianity. And lastly, I just want to say that the people in Oklahoma that we know are mortified by what happened to Nex, and we send our deepest condolences to their family and friends. And I want every LGBTQIA plus person in this state to know not everybody is like Kevin Stitt or Ryan Walters. And we at our little podcast here are going to try to do everything we can do to get attention, to getting people registering to vote for sanity, and to vote for tolerance.
Vote for empathy. Vote for marginalized people. Vote for the people that need help, not for the people that need a tax break.
The most moral thing that you can do when you go to the voting booth is not to vote for yourself.
That's right.
It is to vote for the most marginalized members of this country, like Nex. And Nex was failed, and it's tragic, and it's heartbreaking, and so many people in this community are hurting. And we send love and condolences to the entire community because this has got to stop. And everybody that sits on the sidelines that doesn't want to touch stuff like this, you are the voices that we need the most.
That's right.
All right, that's all for IHIP News today. We'll see you when we feel like it.